G'day folks and welcome to the Encounters Down Under podcast. I'm your host Anthony Goodall and I invite guests to the show to share their amazing encounters with aliens and UFOs. If you or someone you know has had an encounter down under or anywhere in the world for our new segment Encounters Unbound, please get in touch with me via the Encounters Down Under Facebook page or email at australianufosightingsattloutlook.com.au. Be sure to join the Encounters Down Under Facebook page and YouTube channel where you can also get involved during the live stream interviews, sharing your thoughts and opinions during the live show. Also, if you enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to give us a rating and review on your favourite listening platform. But anyway, that's enough from me. Let's get into what you've been waiting for. Kick back and relax with your favourite beverage and enjoy the show. This episode is available to view on our YouTube channel, so be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with your thoughts on the episode.
G'day folks and welcome back to another Encounters Down Under live stream. Hope everyone's doing great so far. Hang on, what's going on here? That's going to be weird here. Thanks for joining me, guys. I hope everything's coming through all right. I probably can't hear me because the bloody microphone's all the way over here. I have not set myself up properly here, guys. Sorry. I hope you can hear me all right. Coming through fine. Haven't tested myself out here yet. But hello, hope everything's going fine. It's going good. I've rushed in a little bit there, running a bit late because I've been out there doing a bit of Halloween stuff myself. So I'm a bit tired and exhausted and running around with the kids there and dressing up and carrying on as we do on Halloween. And for me, I absolutely love Halloween. It's absolutely good fun. Get up in the spooky stuff and just enjoying it all with what the Halloween season's supposed to be about. I know a lot of the Aussies around here don't really like Halloween, but for what it is worth, there's a big history behind Halloween itself. There is not just about people dressing up and going for lollies at random people's houses and such like that. Because America pretty much they commercialized off it, as most of the commercial industries do. They'll try and find anything they can try and commercialize off, and of course, Halloween's one of them. But still, it makes it good fun there for the kids there to go and dress up and try and scare some kids, especially me. I love going and scaring kids and little dress up. It's absolutely fantastic. I have a lot of fun with it. But yeah, guys, look, if you just want to have a chat with me and talk about your scary encounters, by all means, jump on in and hit that link there. I hope the links works. If not, it's in the description there. Otherwise, hit me up on the messenger there through the Facebook chat for the Facebook page, and I'll get you on once I've set that up a little bit better. Like I said, I'm running a little bit behind here, and I should get things working there. So yeah, let's if it's not working for you in the link in the description there or in the chat there, hit me up through the messenger there, guys, and I'll send you the link straight up when I can. So yeah, by all means, I'm inviting everyone here. The lines are open. It will be through StreamYard itself. I don't have the phone lines hooked up there. We tried that last time there and things didn't want to work properly, and it's just I'm leaving it alone. I'm not really set up for it properly for that sort of stuff there. I need a few bits of gear here and there to go and really help that work properly. And just a few things here and there to go and really set up to make that work. But we'll make it work through this StreamYard. And but yeah, guys, don't forget to go and hit that link there if you want to join in. It'd be great to have you on here. But look, I'll go a little bit of a spiel through here, a bit of a history in Halloween. If I bring that up properly, because like I said, I'm unprepared. Halloween's actually celebrated all around. So let's give a little bit of a history on the Halloween itself there, so everyone understands it's not just an American thing; it is a worldwide thing. So I'll go through here with the first thing that sort of popped up through the old Google here. So Halloween, All Hallows Eve, holiday observed on October 31st, the evening of All Saints, or All Hallows Day. The celebration marks the day before the Western Christian Feast of All Saints and initiates the seasons of All Hallow Tide, which lasts 3 days and concludes with All Souls Day. In much of Europe and most of North America, observance of Halloween is largely non-religious. Halloween had its origins in the festival of Samhain, I think that's how you pronounce that, among the Celts of ancient Britain and Ireland, on the day corresponding to November 1st, and contemporary calendars, the new year was believed to begin. That date was considered the beginning of the winter period. The date on which the herds were returned from pasture and land tenures were renewed. During the Samhain festivals, the souls of those who had died were believed to return to visit their homes, and those who had died during the year were believed to journey to the other world. People set bonfires on hilltops for relighting their hearth fires for the winter and to frighten away evil spirits, and they sometimes wore masks and other disguises to avoid being recognized by the ghosts thought to be present.
It was on it was on those ways that beings such as witches, hobgoblins, fairies, and demons came to the association with that day. The period was also the period was also thought to be favorable for divination on matters such as marriage, health, and death. When the Romans conquered the Celts in the first century CE, they added their own festivals of Feralia, commemorating the passing of the dead, and of Pomona, the goddess of the harvest. Look, it keeps going on there, but there's lots of different sort of, a lot of cultures there that sort of celebrate the dead. You have the what was it, the South Americans there? Was it De Mortalis? I can't remember now. It was Day of the Dead, basically. You also have, and there's a couple of things over in Africa. I can't think of what that one's called now. India has the same one there. Like, there's a lot of places there that have like different cultures there have their own ways of celebrating the dead. We just, like I said, we celebrate on the 31st of October every year, and that's supposed to be coming back from our bit of a European heritage there. If you're from that sort of heritage, but either way, look, yeah, it's an interesting way of doing things. It's especially doing this way, but we just made a bit of fun out of it. It makes it fun. So anyway, look, I'm going to go through here with a few of while we're waiting for someone to go and jump in the lines here, if it's going to come through, if someone's wants to get on the bandwagon there and have a chat there, don't forget, guys, that we do have the link there to go and get in. I'll share that again through the chat there. If you want to jump in, it is through StreamYard, so make sure you hit the prompts there that say yes to accept the camera if you want the camera on, or at least accept the audio, so you will come through properly. And I'll go through a few of these scary stories of from Australia's history. So I'm not sure what this one here. Let's have a look. So, located in regional Victoria, this asylum was built in 1865, a time when little was known of mental health conditions. The building administered lobotomies and electroshock treatments on its patients, resulting in over 13,000 deaths on the premises. Holy jeez. One notable ghost that haunts the halls of Arrowdale Mental Asylum is Nurse Kerry, who is believed to walk the woman's wards. Many have heard her voice and the clicking of her heels. Nurse Kerry isn't the only ghost to remain in Arrowdale, though. Some visitors have reported seeing shadow people in the halls, while others claim they've been scratched, bitten, or pushed during these tours, which is a bit that bit creepy. Then you got Adelaide Arcade. Adelaide Arcade is one of the oldest shopping arcades in Australia, having operated since the mid 1800s. Behind the glossy storefronts in a dark and gruesome history that lives on through the ghosts that haunt its halls, the most famous ghost here is that of former caretaker Francis Clooney. The caretaker's mangled body was found in the machinery that powered Adelaide's arcade's electric lighting, and though it is presumed his death was accidental, there are rumours that he was murdered. Clooney's ghost is apparently around to this day. Manhattan dry cleaner stands in the spot where Clooney met his end, and staff say that paranormal activity occurs daily, while several security guards claim to have seen the former caretaker. So if you know any of these places, might be worthwhile going and checking it out. Another one down in Melbourne there, Young and Jackson Hotel. Melbourne's Young and Jackson Hotel started trading in the mid 1800s and still operates today. As a result of its vast history, it's no surprise that the building has a resident ghost. A number of people have reported seeing the apparition of a woman standing against a light post near the hotel. At first, she appears to be a beautiful woman, but as you get closer, you see that her throat has been slashed from ear to ear. Nothing is known of the ghost, but some believe she is the spirit of a murdered prostitute. Ugh. Get a deep throat out of that one, eh? Well, hey. I didn't. Anyway, so this one's in Kapunda. I'm not sure where this one is. Kapunda, if you know, it's in Adelaide. All right. So Kapunda, just an hour out of Adelaide, is widely considered the most haunted town in Australia. While Kapunda itself is quite spooky. The North Kapunda Hotel, in particular, has a reputation for being one of the scariest places in the town. The building boasts a number of different ghosts, from the spirits of two little girls to a mysterious malevolent entity in black. Eee. Children ghosts are creepy enough as it is, thank you. I'll pass on that one. Some of the spirits seen on the property are two young girls, though it is said that one of the girls remains to be the upstairs area of the hotel to avoid an evil spirit. Another spirit believed to haunt the property is that of Dr. Blood. Yes, you heard that correctly. Dr. Blood is said to have performed shocking experiments on humans. Finally, the man in black is another spirit frequently spotted at the hotel. He is said to dress entirely in black and sport a wide-brimmed hat. He has a misogynic, oh Jesus, that's a word, misogynistic side, with the spirit terrifying the female ghosts and attacking the hotel's female visitors. So if you're a woman, do not go that way. But either way, be spooky enough to go and see. And I guess then you're going to see your Hat Man as well, which is pretty known for a paranormal sort of encounter. The old Melbourne Gaol, I think I pronounced that right. The old Melbourne Gaol held some of Australia's most dangerous and infamous criminals, including Ned Kelly. Visitors can even view Kelly's death mask, which is on display at the Gaol. One cell in particular has a reputation for violence in the mysterious cell 17. No one knows which ghost inhabits this cell, but many visitors have reported being scratched, bitten, and bruised by the spirit in this room. The Princess Theatre, down in Melbourne again. The Princess Theatre is one of the most famous landmarks in Melbourne, having hosted several vibrant performances over the years. An actor known as Frederick Federici died during a performance in the 1800s and has been wandering the halls ever since. Even famous actors say they have seen Federici, and some visitors claimed they have felt his touch. Was that Michelle Phil? Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your podcast, please, Anthony? I do have a first episode there if you're interested in that one. The first episode of season 4 there, I threw one in there, just telling you a little bit about myself there, how I started out and a few encounters I've had with myself and where I sort of got the encouragement to sort of start creating a podcast. But just to give a quick little rundown there, I sort of had myself a bit of an interest as a kid there with aliens and that. Well, the old man sort of had a bit of encounter there, which sort of really sparked it a bit more of an interest there. But I've always had an interest in the stars and the universe and such like, and basically as I was growing up there, as we all do, we sort of have a curiosity what's beyond the stars. It wasn't until I had my own little bit of an encounter there of seeing some strange objects there that I couldn't really explain myself, and a few other mates have seen it as well. They seen it as well, couldn't explain it either. There was no sound. It went directly above them. It was nothing phenomenal, but still questionable to say the least. And basically from there started the Australian UFO sightings page there, which is now the biggest Facebook page for UFO sightings, which is going good there. And then eventually I decided to go and create my own podcast here and talk to people because that's where the action's all happening. I'm not here to doubt anyone's experiences there. I'd love to hear people share their encounters, which I'm more than happy to go and talk to. But I do go on a critical analysis there where I will try and explain things away before saying that there was I do a critical analysis basically to try and say it's not a UFO first. I don't go saying claiming it's an alien UFO. I'll try and rule out things like it's a drone, a star, a planet, Starlink, satellite, something like anything that can be explainable. I'll try and rule them out first for some sort of logical explanation first, and then say otherwise. Just calling it an alien craft is something I won't call at all because there's never enough evidence to really claim something like that. Unless you see do something that absolutely defies the logic, defies our known capabilities. Like I was saying, like zigzag and like phenomenal spaces across the sky, or watching something just stop dead and then turn to the right there. Drones can do that, but I'm talking about something that's quite in high regard of that's not a satellite, sorry, a drone. So look, the more critical analysis we can have on these things here, the better, because it brings more accountability to people's encounters there if they have seen something that's questionable. If you can rule that out first, then yeah, absolutely, you're going to bring more credibility to your own encounter. So that's one of those things that I basically do. So I do analyze, I do sort of a bit of sort of investigate into people's encounters and that. So yeah, if you do need help with something there, just sort of like try and analyze a little bit, or need some help with something you might have seen, happy to help out where I can. So what's going on? Why did you remove your comment, Patrick? Okay, never mind. Let's go through there. It's right. Yeah, no worries there, Shell. Thanks for joining us. So Patrick here's got us a little comment in here saying I was 10 years old in 1974 and I was walking back home from shopping and I stopped for a break and sat by a wall when something happened and next thing I know is that I was home without my shopping. I had no idea how I got there or where I'd been. Over the years, I started remembering things about who and what I saw and what happened to me. Ooh, that is interesting, Patrick. Thanks for sharing that, mate. feel free to come on and jump on and hit the link there, mate. Come on and talk about your experience there, mate. The lines are open. I'm inviting everyone who is interested to come and talk to you about your experiences. What better way to go and have you jump on here and go and tell us yourself, mate? That's absolutely incredible. A lot of people have a lot of missing time there, which is very interesting. I'd love to know a bit more behind that sort of stuff. But it's one of those things that just seem to happen, and it happens whenever we least expect it. And I think to me, that's just the scariest part of all, because you could be one place so doing your shopping for one, or you're driving down the road, and next minute there's a couple of hours missing on your drive or wherever you're going. That's and no one seems to really account for where you are, or what happened to you, which is or even see you for that matter, which is even more scary. So yeah, guys, by all means, hit the links there. I'll throw another link in the comments there. I hope it's coming through, and you can click that link. If not, jump in through the chat there in the messenger, and I'll throw it up. I'll invite you in. Excuse me. Let's go back to our creepy little Halloween stories I've got here. So what have we got? The Princess Theatre, done that one. So Monte Cristo Homesteads, this one's in New South Wales. This Victorian manor house in regional New South Wales has been the site of several gruesome events, including the death of a stable boy in a fire and the death of a maid who fell from a balcony. To this day, visitors to the Monte Cristo homestead claim to see the maid standing on the balcony and the stable boy haunting the grounds. A visitor even reported she woke up in the night to see a family of 3 staring at her. Ugh, that's scary. What do we got? Chelsea. I used to play UFOs when I was a young girl. I would pretend that I was in the UFO's control center, so a keyboard, and I'm starting to think that I may have had visitors, the greys in my room as a child too. Ooh, very interesting. Yeah, feel free to go and throw a bit more info on that, or come on and join me on the podcast here and live stream now and join me in. It'd be very interesting to have you on and tell us what you think you might have encountered. What else we got? So we've got the Lorondale Mental Asylum in Melbourne has a dark history filled with supernatural activity. One of the spookiest stories involves the ghost of a young girl who once called the asylum home. All she owned was a music box, and it is said that and it is said that visitors can sometimes hear the sound of her music box echoing through the ruined halls. Oh, could you imagine walking down the dark corridors and you got this little music box going on? It sounds like a horror movie. Oh, geez, I missed out on that one. Thank you. Right, so the next one is Port Arthur. Tasmania's Port Arthur is among the oldest ports in Australia and one of the original penal colonies. As a result, it has a reputation for being haunted. One of the famous spirits to live here is the Blue Lady, who lost her child during childbirth and haunts Port Arthur in constant search for her baby. That's quite tragic and sad. The Richmond Bridge. So Tasmania's Richmond Bridge is notable for 2 reasons. First, it is the oldest bridge in Australia, and second, it holds the title of Australia's most haunted bridge. It is said that a spirit named George Grover lives at the bridge after being murdered while overseeing repairs. Some claim to see Grover stalking them, with many experiencing an overwhelming sense of aggression from the spirit. That'd be quite creepy, crossing a bridge at that time, and then almost still standing there. Oh dear. But yeah, guys, look, if you've had an encounter, it doesn't matter if it's paranormal, cryptid, UFO, whatever you've sort of encountered that might be scary. It's open all tonight there to for you to come in here and join in with me there. Hit those links there in the description there. Come and join me. It'll be make sure you hit the microphone prompts there and the camera prompts if you want to use your camera, and come and join me. Tell me any scary stories that you want to go and share with the rest of the world here. I'd love to get you on there. Well, it's going to be a bit of a short show tonight. But otherwise, it's still good having you on here. I love having you on here and chat in the comments here. Looking to get back more onto these podcasts a lot sooner. I'm starting trying to get a bit more organized now with what's happening with my new job and all sorts of stuff and the new roster and that. So I've got Patrick's back here. He's saying, over the years, I started to remember things like who they were and what they looked like. The American TV show The Chameleon as an Alien, which they called The Chameleon, that looks exactly like what I had seen. Other things started to come back, like what deja vu was, parallel universes, how they fuel this, Parallel universes, how the cells in the crafts, they use the sun's energy to recharge their fuel cells. Fair enough. That's interesting. Uh, they said that reincarnation is real. Yeah, look, I wouldn't doubt reincarnation is quite real. There's also a few stories there where our souls sort of like our bodies are just oh geez, I can't even think now. We're just a thing for our souls to go on, a vehicle basically for our souls to go and experience things there. And once we die, we sort of go back out into the nether or the ether or something like. We sort of roll around in a bit of a different vehicle. Yeah, vehicle's the way. With just a vessel. I think the vessel's the one I was trying to think of. And we just roll around out there until we find a new vessel and reincarnated, basically, and we lose all our memories there. There's a few lots of different theories there, whether or not that's true. That's the hardest thing. Speculation is a good thing, but it's also horrible because it just can open up too many wormholes, basically. So I'll find some more spooky stories here, guys. If I can get a bit more than just a few of the hot spots there for the paranormal. G'day, funkin' hungry. Someone's hungry, eh? Welcome. Thanks for joining in. Patrick's back again. The black membrane on their eyes are to protect their eyes from the sun, like sunglasses. Shelley they say we choose our life too, like we plan ours. Geez, if we had a choice of choosing how to plan our lives, I think I'd choose something a bit better than mine. I've got a few different things I would have picked a bit differently, that's for sure, as I'm sure we all would have. G'day, Tim. Welcome to the podcast, mate. Thanks for joining in. We'll go. Let's have a look at some here. Real life horror stories of the outback. Oh, say thanks to your friend there, Hungry, for sharing the podcast. That's absolutely fantastic. I love when you guys share the podcast out. So yeah, guys, don't forget, share the podcast out to your friends and family there, or whoever you feel might be of interest to them. It's great that they find the channel there, especially from word of mouth. There, it makes it even much worthwhile. For me, it's just it shows that you guys are helping me out in that regard. So it's great that you're helping me out here. It's absolutely fantastic. I very much appreciate it. So let's go through here. Don't know what's going on here. Okay. All right, this might be a little bit of a story. So all right, let's go with this story. So this it's a tale. I don't know if it's a true story or not. So how long is this going to go for? I don't want to go for too long. Oh yeah, okay, so that's all right. Cool. All right, that's not that long. Let's have a looky here. So hey, I've got someone here who wants to join in there. Mark, let's have a look at him. Let's have a look. G'day, Mark.
G'day, Anthony. How are you?
Good, mate. Good yourself. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, that's all right. That's my mate G. He runs a YouTube channel called Funkin' Hungry.
Right.
And he's an interesting character, actually. I started going on a lot live streams a while back with another bloke, and we got to know each other, and I'm quite fascinated by the UFO subject, and we had a good chat last night, myself and G, about what he experienced some time ago, and I've had an experience too that goes back about 30 years or so.
Righto. So love the cockpit view, by the way. Is that from the Millennium Falcon?
No, that's just one of the spaceships, that I've got sitting up in high Earth orbit at the moment.
That's awesome.
Love it. I just did a search online and looking for cockpit views, and that one came up. It looked pretty good. So there's a few out there you can go and steal.
Yeah, that works out well, mate. Love it. That's awesome. So, look, I'm interested in telling us about your encounters.
Yeah. I've only had there's only one that I know of. However, my story goes back a long way. As a kid growing up, I was into science fiction. Used to watch Doctor Who on ABC as much as I can, and always had an interest. I had a book ages ago when I was a kid of all these different spaceships. It was an illustrated book. Artists who'd come up with these spaceships of all different shapes and sizes, and just always been fascinated by spaceships, always liked spaceships. And I just followed through, grew up watching Star Trek and Babylon 5 and, shows like that to quench the thirst. And later, a little bit later in life, into my early 20s or something like that, myself and a group of people were out four-wheel driving around Ipswich area. The particular place that we stayed at this night is probably all houses now, but it was a nice clear night, either autumn or winter, one of the two. It was fairly cool. There was about 15 of us, at least 15 people in the group, ranging in ages from young kids to adults, and beautiful clear night. And as it was a full moon this particular night, and as the full moon rose, this thing rose with the moon, and of course we thought, oh yeah, it's a helicopter. And that was our first explanation. That's what it was. But then it went on and on and on. And back then, the equipment we had at the time, when I say equipment, I had the old video camera that sat on your shoulder, and I think we had a pair of World War II era rabbit ears, which had about a 5 or 10 times magnification. Nothing special. And what else did we have? We didn't have a telescope or anything like that. But it actually went on for that long. Most of us got bored of it. We just sort of went about doing what we're doing, cooking dinner and getting ready and looking at the stars. And we all sort of had a look at it through the binoculars or whatever we had. I think we had a pair of binoculars as well. I can only remember it as one object. But a mate of mine who spent the majority of time looking at it said there was several objects, and this really did go on for a long time, and we got to a stage that we realised that no helicopter, could spend that much time in the air without going back somewhere and refueling. And thinking more back on this event, it was too large. When you had the full moon, this was, I suppose, the size of at that distance maybe a 10-cent piece or something like that. So that's fairly large, and it kept changing colours. It wasn't a solid thing. I'm trying to remember it to the best of my knowledge. My friend, I asked him about it. I think I saw him about 3 months ago, and I asked him about it. And he said, yeah, I remember it. He said there wasn't just one, there were several, so we talked about it briefly. And he said what it did at the end was they all came together or formed as one, and then it just went like that, the way it went.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so... And
so how long do you think the whole thing went for, basically, like till it did finally go?
Oh, geez. I don't know. I didn't keep track of the time. A long time, because we first noticed it, like I said, as the full moon was going up, this thing was beside it. And it was at night time for us, so you wouldn't have been able to see it, say, from North America or anything like that. It was a Southern Hemisphere event.
Yeah.
Look, like I said, 30 years ago, I'm struggling a bit to remember all the details, but a long time. It went on for a long time. I would have to talk to my other friends to see if if anyone timed it, but it was, a long time, that's for sure. Enough time to because it was around, and I've heard similar sort of stories. For some people that they watched a UFO for that long, they actually got bored of it, and went and did something else, went back inside, made a cup of tea or a coffee, or had something to eat or something, and they come back out and it was still there, however long later. But this was a long period of time. Most people, when they talk about the UFO sightings, is only really short, But
Yeah.
no, this went for a long time.
No, that's phenomenal. Like it's sort of like like you're saying, like, a lot of things are very short, and then people's encounters there the last several seconds there, if they're lucky to a minute. Yours being there for so long, there's like you had all
Yeah,
the time in the world to sort of like try and observe it, but it just unfortunately it's too far away to sort of try and get a real grasp on what the hell it was.
yeah,
It's
and
unfortunate.
you know, um, even if we had modern technology today or modern equipment, I don't think we would have done much better. Um, but it was just one of those things. But I really enjoy the UFO subject. I'm lucky enough to have a job where I can watch a lot of the shows that come out of North America. Um, I've been since since getting one of these things and having the job that I have, I get to watch a lot of stuff. For our daytime, they're having their nighttime shows. So, there's a bunch of shows I like to watch. I've watched quite a few over the years, and there's a few that I watch pretty regularly and try and keep up with. But I'm sure you'd appreciate that as the subject is growing in interest, there's more and more people coming out and doing podcasts or different podcasters altogether that you've never heard about in the UFO scene talking about UFOs.
Yeah. So what are your sort of opinions on the whole topic then when it comes to the UFOs? Do you think there's some sort of alien race coming through? What's
Yeah,
your sort of opinion?
yeah. Um, I think there's more than one. I feel there's more than one. It's definitely an advanced species. It's definitely real. I've come to the conclusion now that it's definitely real. It's not made up. It's not a fabrication. It's not someone's delusion or uh, sleep paralysis or anything like that. It's true. It's real.
Yeah.
And when you look at um, older civilizations or older generations of native, whether it's Native Australians, Native Americans, or other civilizations, they talk about the sky people or the depictions of hieroglyphs or petroglyphs on cave walls and paintings and all that sort of stuff. And that's not just in one location, that's all around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what makes it so interesting, and like makes it also so frustrating as well. There's so much evidence in the part like over the world they're indicating that there's some sort of other race or some sort of civilization or beings or something that's interacting with us or has interacted with us in the past there. Yet the governments want to deny every single thing about the existence of these things there.
Yeah.
And that's just one thing that makes it so frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
people are encountering something that's beyond our known or knowledge of what's going on. And that's
Mm.
makes it even worse because we're just thrown into the shadows of what the reality is. Like, as it's why not just tell us? Like, we should have been told from the start. I say this a lot. Like, if they were honest with us and transparent from the beginning, there, we probably would have evolved and adjusted to it. No worries back in those days
Yeah.
when they said, "Hey, look, we've got these civilizations here, these beings here, whatever the hell they are. That they've been interacting with us for hundreds of years." Um, and yeah, like, it would have been a bit of a freak out moment at the start there, but people would have like adjusted to it, adapted to it. Like, humans are good at adapting to different scenarios and that.
Hmm.
But that being one of those things, there, other feel we would have done fine. But
Yeah.
they want the control, especially regarding religion and stuff like that. Just everything. They feel like the whole world was just burnt down because of
Yeah.
that went against that sort of stuff.
Mm.
But that's my opinion on it.
Yeah. You just got to have a look at. I really enjoyed your show the other night with your guest who was talking about the stuff, and this is something that no one, until your guest talked about it, how the faces on the figures on Easter Island, how they line up with our version of Stonehenge down in that blew my mind. I just hang on a minute. No one's ever mentioned this before.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed listening to your guest talk. I found it fascinating, and you can see you guys touched on it like the other night. How much, what sort of rebuttal that Graham Hancock has gone through with his Ancient Apocalypse series on Netflix.
Yeah.
Just all he's doing is just suggesting that maybe this hypothesis or theory or this is possible. He's not saying it is. All he is saying is it may be possible, and
that's the thing too. Like, there's so many different theories. But like, if there's so many different theories, if one of them could be very well and truly right. So why can't we look into the different theories there and try and go, all right, this one sounds a lot more plausible. Let's go with that one there. And if that one doesn't seem to really get anywhere, let's go with the next sort of theory of like what could possibly be, and just try and rule out different things. And like, I'm sure if like they kept rolling down different theories there, maybe each different theory has its own little 1% of truth behind it all.
Yeah.
And if you can try and go through all these different theories and get that 1% of truth that's in it there and match them all together, we can have the truth of pretty much everything just about. But it's a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, and there's one thing's for sure. We've lost a lot of information, historical information.
Oh, absolutely.
It's look, when I was a kid growing up in high school, we had history or ancient history, and that they tried to teach us about the Greeks and what happened, and unfortunately that just bored me to tears. I had no interest in it. However, as I've progressed in life and aged, my approach to that sort of thing is completely different. I find it more fascinating now than ever, especially with shows like Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix and other shows, and the discovery of places like Göbekli Tepe and other places around there, and all this other stuff that they're finding out with the pyramids, like you guys were talking about the other night. The more they look, the more they find, and the more questions they come up with, or even the more, sometimes more answers that they don't have.
Yeah, and like you look at the ancient civilizations there with the I was trying to find it then, but I don't have the right page up. But they got those block walls, they're rocks. They're puzzled together like perfectly. They're being cut.
Yeah.
The technology was there at some point, and it's like, where does technology go? Like, how they do something like that? That's like we're trying to cover the other night with Triffin from Unlocking the Code. It's just it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. And like Triffin, he actually shared it up. So I was trying to hope to bring it up so I can show everyone, but I can't seem to get the bloody feed come through. But I mentioned the question, like, because he shared the saying that rock walls there, and a question like, okay, it's all well and good, like they've got the technology to be able to do this, but what about the fact of planning and organizing the resources that you have there to know how to even go and assemble this wall together? Because it's just all a big puzzle piece. If I can try and find the damn thing.
Well, even the alignment, how accurate they got it, and getting back to those stone walls, people have been over there taking photos, like close-up photos. You can't even get a credit card in there or anything like that. That's just unreal.
It is. It's absolutely unreal. If I can try and bring it up, then I can actually share it to everyone.
So the people, I usually don't plug other shows, but the people I follow My thing is I watch a lot of YouTube, so that's where I get my information from. And I know there's some dodgy channels out there. However, I watch people like Dave Scott of Spaced Out Radio. He runs a good channel. He really does. And he's very
Yep.
knowledgeable on the subject. I like to watch Preston Dennett. I like the. Do you know of Preston Dennett?
No, I don't. I must admit, I'm pretty horrible when it comes to different channels on YouTube and all that sort of stuff.
I would. I might make you a list and send you a list of channels that I watch.
Yeah.
Preston is a UFO researcher. He's put out about 30 odd books. He posts once a week on YouTube, on his YouTube channel. He also does a podcast called The Light Gate with his friend Dolly Safran. She's a fully conscious abductee, and she's been on board the craft. And yeah, it's really interesting. I like watching people like David Marler. You know, he does some terrific work. He really does. You know of him?
No, I don't. No, sorry.
Okay. David Marler's a guy out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he's written a book on triangular UFOs. When Ross Coulthard was doing his thing over there, he sat down with Ross and talked to him. And of course, you know, the stuff that Ross has done, I try and follow Ross as much as possible.
Yeah.
I'm just very jealous that he's done talks in Melbourne and Sydney, but I'm in Brisbane, so I'd really love him to come and do a talk here in Brisbane. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. No, that'd be the go. Oh, look, there's a lot of people out there doing some wonderful things there for the whole community in regards to UFOs and that. But like everything, it's whatever evidence they sort of have to present to like say like what could be plausible theories, and there's still just not enough evidence there to go and say sort of back up their theories. And like I know I'm one for like hard evidence and such like that, but whatever information they've got, you know, that needs to be taken seriously from, you know, Aero and all these other governments. You know, even if it's a what do you call them? Offside bloody government to the main departments. You know, at least if they're looking into what they've got, you know, and trying to pack together the information that they've got to try and come up with some sort of plausible answer, then like, you know, it should be done. Like there's a lot of investigators out there who are doing the hard yards instead of trying to go and just government officials. Like, you know, there's a lot of credible people out there that are doing the hard yards.
Yeah, and a lot of those people who are doing the hard yards, we really don't hear about them, unfortunately.
That's right.
You know,
no, they get shown across a bit.
It wasn't until you know, I have seen your channel around, but as I made the comment the other day, I finally got to see you live, which was really good because, like I said, I watch a lot of stuff that comes out of America because of the time difference, and I have the opportunity to do that. Not always, but most of the time. And there's not a lot going on here. Well, there is a lot going on here in Australia, but for a lot of people, they don't get to see it. I try and keep up with what Grant Levac is doing as much as possible. But it's just good to sit down and talk with someone like yourself here in Australia, or even just sometimes I really like listening and hearing what other people have got to say, especially on different subjects. You know.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of wonderful stuff there, and yeah, shout out to Grant Levac doing what he does there. Like I've sort of followed suit with him there, a little bit with him there, trying to like, you know, contact you know, government officials and stuff like our members of parliament there. I did try a little work earlier on before he did start hitting the socials there and getting his fame there for that. But I knew from the start we were going to keep hitting brick walls and that. But you know, persistence is the way to do it. But it's still like being Australia, it's still so hard to try and get anything out of our members of parliament at all.
Yeah, well, we're not alone, of course. The UK is very much the same. If you look at the guys from like Vinnie Adams from the Disclosure Project in the UK, I think I'm getting that wrong. You know, the UK is another one of those ones that doesn't talk a lot, or they don't say anything at all, a bit like Australia.
Yeah.
You know, even America, they don't say much. And what they do say is almost a repeat of what's been said before. But if you look at South America, they're very open about the subject. You know, they're quite, you know, they're quite, yeah, they're just more open about the subject than what we are, I suppose, in the southern or northern hemispheres.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's what we sort of want to try and get UK and Australia to get on the same board with. You know, we want to be a bit more transparent, or at least start investigating the damn things.
Yeah.
There's no method at all for Australia to even go and attempt to even look into UFOs because there's nothing there in their departments to even that's even made up for it. So that's the frustrating thing.
Yeah, that's what they're telling us. But it would be fair to say that there's probably things going on in the background that we don't know.
Oh,
about.
Absolutely.
And you've heard Ross in his specials talk about how he got invited to the officers' mess of the Air Force, and he said, "Well, you know, it can't be true," and that's when, you know, the captain or the squadron says, you know, so and so, come over here, tell Ross about this story, you know. So it definitely happens. We know it happens.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I've got G here, mate. He's your best mate, buddy G, sitting there ready to go. So he's all dressed up, ready to go with the Halloween spirit. There, it's
well, maybe he's not G. Maybe he's somebody else tonight.
Well, Jason, we'll call him Jason. How's that?
Yeah, we'll call him Jason.
Well suited.
How are you, Jason?
Not too bad. Yeah, missing my mum, but you know that happens around this time of year. But yeah, I don't have a machete, but I do have a hobby knife, if that counts.
That'll work. We'll go with that. Love it. I was going to do a bit of a thing tonight. I was going to do a bit of a spiel up tonight, but I lost the chance to go and do it. You know, I was going to do a bit of a dress up myself there, like with me Halloween outfit there, and I did it last year. There, I had the old Reaper suit out, and that wasn't me. I should say it wasn't me, but you know, I had a bit of a great. It was good fun to get in the Halloween spirit. But tonight I ran out of time. Things, you know, we had a lot of trick or treaters out tonight, and just did not get a chance to get on top of this at all. But yeah, look, welcome to the show, there, G. Welcome, mate.
Thank you very much. I'll be back in a second. I'll do a magic trick.
Oh, go for it.
we had a few trick or treaters. In previous years, we've haven't had anyone, and tonight we got surrounded by quite a few. So something different. We don't sort of celebrate it at all or anything like that, but some people do.
Yeah. No, look, we make some fun out of it. You know, it's like I was saying earlier. You know, it's like, oh look, who's that fella?
Put it back on. Scary. But yeah, how are you? Mark told me about the channel last night when we had a huge discussion, and he said he was live today and he was going to pop on. And yeah, when I saw that it was sort of open panel, I thought I may come on, you know, have a bit of a chat.
No, it's awesome. Thanks for joining in. It's awesome. He says that you got a bit of a channel.
I've always been into Funkin' Hungry is a food-related channel, but I have started doing lives, and the lives at first was to engage with the audience, the people that watch, but then it's become a lot more than that now. Like we talk about, you know, cryptids, UFOs. We talked about paper and how it's made last night. So it's like I do have another channel for my miniature painting hobby, and I have a very small channel that I'm eventually going to move my lives to that. Haven't quite worked out what it's going to be called or what, but it's going to be a place for us to talk about this kind of stuff and whatever, you know, like just a place for anyone to sort of come and speak about any topics that they're interested in. The topics normally bounce around a little bit from, you know, if it's me and Mark, we tend to eventually get onto UFOs and stuff like that. So, you know, We streamed for 5 hours yesterday, so about an
Oh,
hour
wow.
was me just talking to people. After that, Mark got on. We spoke about his work and a few other stuff, and then probably for a good 2 hours, it was about aliens and all that sort of stuff.
Jesus.
Yeah,
That's a good effort.
Well,
yeah,
we don't always do it. It's just every so often, and we just talk about similar interests. Science fiction shows and things like that. And this just didn't happen overnight. G and myself have been talking on and off, and on other shows. We met on another stream ages ago, and we've just slowly but surely gotten to know each other. And last night was a bit of an interesting night, hearing G's story. And G's heard my story tonight. I don't think I've told that before.
oh yeah, you have. I didn't.
I have, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you have. It's interesting what Patrick is saying in the chat, because that was some of the subject matter that I was talking to Mark about. That I've had experiences in England because that's where I was born. I've had experience in Australia. South Australia is where I'm located now. I've had encounters where I've seen craft. Also, I used to be very just strong when it come to like lucid dreaming and stuff like that, where I could control and remember my dreams to the point where it was hard to sometimes differentiate the dreams to reality almost, because they were quite similar. There was a few little things that I did to sort of work out which was which. Because, I guess waking up, but sometimes even when I used to dream, like you would kind of either like almost be in your bed and wake up. So, like I guess it's a little bit how people explain like astral projection and stuff, how you kind of like leave your body. That's sometimes how the dreams was, where it feel like I'm sleeping, and that's why it would be get confusing. And I mean, I was a kid, like this was around before I moved to Australia, so probably about 8 years old. So, like if people were like, oh, how can you not work it out? It's like, I was quite young, not very experienced in a lot of this stuff. This was before internet, before a lot of stuff. So obviously as well, adults deny all of that side of us, just how more spiritual we are, and just when it comes to different beings and UFOs or whatever, so you try to speak to people, and they don't have the answers because they might not have had the experiences. But also, so I was telling Mark that I used to have really bad sort of like nightmares, but they weren't always nightmares because I was awake and experiencing really strange stuff happening. And my mum would, I was up, I was living upstairs, they were downstairs in their bedroom, and they would run up and do the typical stuff that a parent would do, try and calm down a kid that's having a weird experience. And they would just say, oh, it's a nightmare. And me knowing that I wasn't sleeping during this. And like, yeah, I know this show's a little bit more about like UFOs and encounters, but speaking to my mum as an adult, she used to say that I always saw this creature, or whatever you want to say, with like these glowing red eyes. And I remember laying in bed, and the way my bed was, because it was kind of in like the attic or whatever you want to call it, so the house was a bit slanted. So my bed was up against that wall, and it sort of slanted downwards. And I used to see at the end of the bed like these glowing red eyes. You know how like when I've got one in this room, like the sensor lights that go off and like flash.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of like just looked like that because it was pitch black, but I'd see like these two glowing eyes appear. And one reason I guess I mentioned that is because when I spoke to my mum when I was older, she said that one time I was saying it was a big black wolf, and I was telling her about it. But then supposedly I followed, like my head went, and I like sort of watched it go down the stairs, and that freaked her out. And I guess a lot of people that don't understand stuff. I mean, we see all these sort of conjuring movies where they get an expert to come in and try and help. But I mean, when you don't have access to experts before internet, before you could sort of find people like that, you know, and obviously not everyone is prepared to do that, to look into that stuff. But yeah, so I've had experiences like that, but then I've also seen like when I was little, I guess if you want me to, if I mean, I don't want to, you know, like take over this and just make it all about me, but if you want me to like share maybe a couple of encounters, I'm happy to.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's open to like all scary, spooky encounters there and in life for Halloween. So anything paranormal or cryptid is welcome by all means.
Yeah, like when I saw or heard you when I first joined, you was saying about, you know, little stories or just little stuff you was going to tell. So I guess that's why I chucked on the hockey mask. I'm like, I'm very much into horror and spooky stuff and cryptids besides UFOs as well.
Yep.
But I'll tell you two UFO stories that were a little bit shorter. And when I was a kid and in England, they were both saucers. So you've got like, you know, your picture in the background that's representing the saucer. But there was one time at a firework evening, like a lot of people were there and fireworks were going off. And I remember all of a sudden this object came in, and this was because I left England when I was 11 going on 12, so this would have been like probably 7, 8, 9, like in between that age bracket. And I saw this object come in, and it was just a typical silver shiny, and because it was so high up and far away where the fireworks were flying into the sky, see this little object just hovering around, and it's sort of, you know, it started from side to side quite quickly, almost like, I guess, if you drop a feather on the ground and it goes
Yep.
slowly from side to side. It was kind of just, but it seemed like it had definitely like an intelligence behind it, because it seemed like it was showing off and trying to sort of say, oh well, you're looking at the fireworks, yeah, they might look nice, but I can do a lot more crazy stuff. And it was sort of going quite quickly from, you know, like you had to kind of move your head to keep up with the directions it was
Yeah,
going.
wow.
And yeah, I was quite, you know, I've always been interested in this sort of stuff. So when I saw it, I'm like, well, what is that? But also because it's in so much pop culture, I kind of, you know, my head's sort of, oh, that I know what this is because I've seen images on, you know, different shows or whatever of a saucer. So I watched it. It was around for maybe 5 minutes. You know, like the fireworks were a bit of a distraction, but then it went from sort of in sight to just, you know, like in a couple of seconds, it was just gone, and it sort of moved in like a diagonal sort of, you know, direction. It wasn't just because, I mean, I've seen plenty of, because these days now I'm into the subject more. You know, I definitely do the, does it sound like a plane, a helicopter, and those type of vehicles have a certain movement to them, but this didn't. And then the second encounter that I had when I was in England and a child was my aunt used to own a big property, a farm. So she had like acres of land. She had like a triple story house. So it was a lot of land, and they had a uh, I can't think of the word, like a not it was like a do you know on a house where it has like the connection that goes outside that they have in hotels? For some reason I can't think of, probably trying to use my brain too much.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was going to say pergola, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Like
Patio or
a
something. Yeah.
but when you're in a hotel and you can step out the door and like look at the rest of the stuff up in a hotel, like a
Yeah. I can't
Not a
remember.
not not a foyer.
no it's attached to that hotel and it goes outside. It's
Oh,
such a simple
observation deck. Observation deck.
it's such a simple thing, but I can't think of the word. But yeah, like this went outside, so the the
Balcony.
words really
Balcony.
annoyed me. Yeah, balcony,
Balcony.
that's the bloody
There
one.
you go.
Courtyard.
We'll get it
As
right.
if like as if I could get it,
Gola.
but no one else could work it out as well. But yeah, a balcony. So I apologise for I'm trying to use my brain too much, and it's some. But yeah, there was a balcony, so we got our sleeping bags and we it was quite a big balcony, enough for 3 little kids to put their sleeping bags out and sleep at night. And we were just talking and all that sort of stuff. And sometimes you'd get up to look around, and they have had foxes and stuff out there. So sometimes you see like movement from nocturnal animals and stuff like that, and just doing what kids do, just excited. We're up late and we're kind of alone, and no parents are around. But eventually, this would have been quite early into the morning, so I'm guessing 12 to 1, that sort of time. And all of a sudden there's this like little shiny object just cruising around in the neighbor's property, because they had acres of land, like farms, so they just had a lot of land. The neighbors had a lot of land, and we all saw it, and we was yeah, just watching it for a while. And again, I had an experience before, but again, I was into this sort of stuff, so I was like, oh yeah, it didn't take me a while to work out what it was this time, because I've already had an encounter, and also I got into the sci-fi and stuff like that a lot more. I used to love the Twilight Zone and stuff like that as a kid, all that sort of stuff. So as soon as I saw it, I just instantly clicked what it was. But it was just hovering around over the land, like almost like when police helicopters are looking with their lights down. So it was definitely going across stuff slowly, and it just sort of, obviously it was floating or hovering, and it was just going over the land. And it was just, yeah, like looking back in these as an adult and having more experience and knowledge in this area is it's like you kind of always wonder what it's doing. I did notice someone in the chat earlier said about, you know, like how they put like symmetrical sort of patterns into the fields and stuff. Like I was wondering if maybe there's a connection. I mean, I didn't I didn't go and explore it later on in the day and stuff, being a kid and having to listen to parents and adults, and kind of not just being able to wander off without reason really. But yeah, it was we just watched it for a while, and because it was so late, we just eventually sort of like as it moved off into the distance, this one didn't just fly off. It just slowly hovered on to the point where you can't see it. You can't see it anymore. It starts sort of goes into the darkness. The land being such a, like acres of land, it just eventually just went, and we couldn't see it anymore. But they were both very similar objects. I know that there are a few variations when it comes to sources, of slightly different variations, but from memory, they just looked really similar. How just almost like a Mexican hat, how it had the big brim, and then sort of like the dome on top and the dome underneath.
Yeah, okay. So was it sort of like lighting up the area as well, or was it like just just its own sort of glow?
Well, it didn't really have a glow, but it even at night time you could see it, like the reflection. So I guess the moon and stuff bouncing off the object lights
Yeah.
it up enough to the point where you can, pick it out. I guess kind of like, I guess, a car, if it's going, under street lights, the light from the street lights bouncing off the car obviously sort of makes it visible. So it didn't sort of glow, but yeah. I had other encounters and stories, but I don't want to, I guess, overload you and other people. But I have seen orbs as well, like actual proper orbs, not like just how when people see dust, like light reflecting off dust, and they're like, oh, they post videos. That's an
I
orb.
know.
Like
Yeah, I
actually,
know.
I've seen actually like glowing orbs. But yeah, I thought I'd share a couple of little encounters tonight for you.
No, that's awesome. I appreciate that. So, like, a question for you then. So, like, what are your sort of personal opinions on the whole thing? Like, do you think they're alien beings? What's your sort of perspective on the whole topic of where these things are or who they are?
Well, I guess being a fan of like Mulder from X-Files, I always like wanted to believe that there's more to it. But as I get older, I do wonder if it's just like, the government. But then a lot of the experiences I've had, like at the firework night, it seemed almost like a childlike personality showing off, like, look at me, I can do this. So And obviously, when the second story I told, that one seemed like, if you want to give them a character or a characteristic, that one seemed more mature, where it had purpose and it had a reason to be there. I mean, I have discussed this with Mark, and I've had experiences in Australia as well, and I've sort of said to him, I wonder what it was doing. And you know, like, there's a lot of stories where they could be collecting like DNA from animals. They could be, collecting like some sort of foliage, like some natural resources, and being in sort of the countryside, the earth and all that stuff is less tampered with, so it's, a little bit more natural. And so, I mean, I have had experiences with these different beings that, I don't quite know if it. I've said this to Mark before as well. I don't quite know if they were dreams or if they were like, if I was awake and it was reality. But I guess, like someone said in the chat, they wish they could remember or like sort of work out some of this stuff that happened in childhood. And I do kind of wish, like, I've done meditation myself, but I'm not that experienced to the point where I can sort of go back to those points of time and investigate it a little bit more. But I guess I'm the type of person that, unless I have proper proof, I'm not gonna sort of say yes or no to something like that. But from all the experiences I've had, all the stuff that I've like researched and looked into, and other people's experiences, I would definitely say there's different, like, there's not just humans that have our sort of intelligence out there, and I'm not sure if it's outside of this planet or if these beings are a part of the planet. Maybe were around before humans, or I mean, they could be living in the ocean with technology. They could be living in like the inside of the earth, because there's so many like places we haven't explored. There's, like, you can get into like cave systems that can lead into sort of like the core of the earth, and who knows,
Mm.
ships could ships could be there in technology, and just there could be whole civilizations there that we can't get to with the technology we have, and but they're able to, move in and out. Maybe there's sort of portals that can open up in different parts of this planet. So it doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily need to be other planets that we're having these contacts with. It could quite easily be all happening on this planet. I mean, this planet is pretty huge. Like, we have all these different countries, and there's a lot that we haven't explored.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we've hardly mapped or explored, various parts of the ocean, and that's because we just can't go down that deep. Or if we can,
Yeah,
we can only go down there for a very short period of time. There's a reason. When you look at us, we're surface dwellers. We can. There's only a certain range above and below the land that we can successfully live in. The rest of it, we can't. If we go too high up, we can't breathe. If we go too far down, we're going to get crushed from, forces that we can't see.
yeah. And it also goes back to like a lot of theories that we've touched on in the past there too with the other podcasts. It could very well be an ancient civilization that's well and truly prior to us coming out.
yeah,
Yep.
The Earth's millions of billions of years old, so there's easily could have been some sort of some advanced civilization that's gone, like, survived past the cataclysms that the world's had in the past era, and these are the things that are flying around us today. That's
Yeah.
well and truly a high likely. I feel it's a lot more plausible than the explanation to aliens from another galaxy or another system or something like that. I sort of feel like that seems a lot more plausible in my opinion.
Well, yeah, we just don't know. We just don't have the answers, and we need more information. As you were saying before, it'd be nice if we had a bit more truth to what has come before us. They've now proven that humans were using tools. Well, humanoid people were using tools over 100,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It's the the more they're finding more, and they're realizing that we just don't go back, say, 2,000 years or 4,000 years, depending on what somebody's written in a book. There's actual evidence now of like, is it Neanderthals or our predecessors going back 100,000 years?
Yeah. Yeah, well, like, if you look at some of the stories as well too, like in coal seams from in the past, coal's made by vegetation collapsing into pits there, and then gets covered over by rock and mud and all sorts of stuff, and it sits there for hundreds of thousands of years, and until it does its thing, it petrifies and goes to rock, and becomes coal. There's been stories there where people have gone mined the coal and they found like tools and jewelry and stuff like that's been washed down into the coal pits there, and stayed there for hundreds of thousands of years. And that, whether that's true stories or not, I don't know. But it's just to say that, like, there's been civilizations well and truly prior to us that have had tools and jewelry and the means to go and have some sort of familiarity something that we're familiar with, to say the least. That's washed up in the coal pits here, and that's survived hundreds of thousands of years. And it's like, well, who the hell was that? When we've got claims there, like our human species are only 100,000 years old, such.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things in the past there that's just not making sense. The whole, growing up, it just seems to me like we've just been bullshit to this whole time. Going through history class and saying, Adam and Eve was our first, human beings and such there, and or we could have come from monkeys or some sort of evolution sort of thing here. But it's like none of this doesn't make sense anymore. None of it's really lining up.
No, I was saying to G only last night when we were talking about different things that my time in school we were taught, because this was the thinking of the time, was that Captain Cook discovered Australia. And we know now that wasn't the case. It was the Dutch that actually came across Australia, I think, before Captain Cook. And, of course, we have the Aborigines that were already here. And there's a lot of history that we've lost, that the Aborigines have lost, and we have lost from the Aborigines. There's just so much we've lost.
Yeah. Even if it's like, even outside the Australian history too, just worldwide altogether, like so much stuff has been covered up or destroyed to try and continue the agenda. And I'm gonna go hit hard here at the religious side of things. The Vatican and all sorts of stuff, the Roman Empire. They wiped out so much stuff there because it was against their beliefs, their agenda. It's it's bullshit. We could have a lot more truth to everything.
Well, the interesting part of the Vatican is that, and most people, they know that they've got their secret files, and a lot of people you can't just walk off the street and say, hey, mate, I don't want to see your secret files. And they've got documents that date back a long way. But the other thing that most people don't know about the Vatican is they have 2 observatories. Why does a religious organization have 2 observatories? One in Vatican City, the other one in New York.
You mean observatories like to look at the stars, or?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, righto.
Yep.
Yes. Maybe they're just looking for God.
Yeah, well, I don't think they found him yet. So
no, they're going to be looking for a while. Joan's saying, don't forget there's evidence of a race of people who lived in the Blue Mountains. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll have to look a bit more into that one.
Yeah.
When you were speaking about jewelry, it just for some reason, the Egyptian culture came to mind. And obviously, it's like when it comes to jewelry, gold and stuff like that, and the importance of it, it seems like that's gone through different civilizations over time. And also the pharaohs and stuff, a lot of them had elongated heads. They had, the head isn't sort of roundish or skull-like shape like we're used to. It kind of was quite long, And a lot of times they would have a lot of jewelry and stuff, and they would obviously have to sort of be able to fit on that shaped head and stuff like that.
But you guys were talking about that the other night on your podcast, that
We were, yeah.
they did that on purpose to make themselves look like their ancestors, or not their ancestors, but
The gods.
The gods, yeah.
Yeah.
And the gods came from the sky on their flaming vehicles, or however they described them at the time.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I was going to say something before too. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're right.
We're talking about the Vatican there. Like, there's a thing a while back there saying, rush Area 51. They can't stop us all. Why don't we just rush the Vatican? They can't stop us all. They just go in there, just break down these walls and barriers. I encourage everyone. Let's get on the bandwagon. Let's do it. Let's get it out there and let it known. We're going for you, Vatican. You better go and prepare yourself, because we want the truth out of you guys too. You guys know a lot of shit. I think you guys know a lot more shit than what the governments actually know. So let's get this out there. Everyone, we're going to go rush the Vatican.
Yeah, we'll start a Facebook page and see how far we get.
May as well. I'll make a reel out of this and put it on YouTube and Instagram and all sorts of stuff, so everyone goes, look, we're rushing the Vatican. Everyone get behind us. They can't stop us all. And
they'll be saying, oh, those bloody Australians causing trouble again.
Yeah, that's right, because it's an Aussie bloke too, wasn't it? Did the Area 51, wasn't it?
Was it?
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was an Aussie bloke.
I think it was.
That started that off.
Yeah. Oh,
let's get into it. But yeah, look,
it was a good. I was just going to say it was a good idea at the time.
Oh, absolutely. But unfortunately, there's nothing there anymore with Area 51. They moved that shit out years ago, decades ago. It'll be somewhere else now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They're not that dumb that they're just going to leave stuff in an area that everyone's interested in.
Speaking, you hit the nail on the head there, G. You said the word dumb, and the stuff I've seen.
Deep underground military bases. That's what it stands for, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where it will be.
Yeah, and there's lots of those around. We've been digging into the earth for years. Take Mount Isa mines, for example. I think their last time, I used to have a step uncle that worked there, and I think back then they were 15 or 17 levels down. And the further you went down, the hotter it got. So how far down are they now? And other places, it's mind-boggling. It really is.
Yeah, we look at the pit there at Kalgoorlie there. I can't say how deep it is there, but it's like supposedly the biggest hole in Australia. That thing just goes miles down, which even creates its own like bloody vortexes and its own bloody atmospheric pressure. Basically, that's how fucking deep it is. Like Jesus.
Isn't there one also in South America, a mine in South America that's very similar in depth?
I think so. Yeah. Look, don't quote me on that. There's a lot of places that are just. I think there's one even over in Europe there somewhere too. There's one over there where the pit just goes straight down. It's like, Jesus, how deep is stuff down there? Like, I don't even think we'll be going down there to try and find materials and stuff. But obviously, here we are.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. But look, guys, thank you for joining me here. Look, I might end it here if no one else wants to sort of join in there. If anyone wants to quickly jump in there before we end the show, there, links in the description there. I'll throw a link in the comments there if someone wants to quickly jump in there before we finish up there. Talk about your spooky, scary stories there, whether it's cryptid, paranormal, or UFO. Doesn't matter which one it is. Even if you want to just throw in a quick opinion there, great to have you on there, have a bit of a chin wag.
No worries.
Otherwise,
I do love my cryptids as well.
The what, sorry?
I do love my cryptids as well. I listen to like a lot of creepypasta sort of, where they cryptid stories. Fascinated with that stuff.
Yeah, there's a few good stories getting around there, like especially like, well, what have we got now? Like, it's sort of hard for me. I sort of find it hard to believe, like all this new sort of cryptids that have come out, like like Mothman and all sorts of stuff. you know, they only sort of started really appearing like what we're in the 60s or 70s, I think, was something like, you know, then Hatman sort of come around, and people are seeing these weird sort of strange characters that have sort of only come in the last couple of decades. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, are these people dressing up like this, or like how true are people's encounters of these things here? Because like for me, I'm more like along the lines of like, you know, the ancient ones here, like where like, you know, skinwalkers, and you know what's the other ones,
Yeah.
the
Dogman and
what's the other one, rakes and stuff like, you know,
Yeah.
there's another one
yeah,
too, Wendigos and stuff like, you know, the
Mm.
stuff like that. They're
yeah,
like, you know, the real ancient sort of cryptids.
the ones
Like
that
to
have
me,
been around
they're the ones that are
past
interesting.
cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To me, they're the interesting ones there. Where I sort of feel like Hatman, Dogman, or you know, Mothman. I was like, are they the imagination from people who just think they're seeing something there, or is it something that's, you know, come into our dimension by accident, and next minute people are seeing this weird thing?
Well, that's
yeah. I've
that's a
got a cryptid on my
possibility.
shirt actually. We got Batman as well.
That's
He's
right.
Dogman.
That's right. Hang on. Let's see. Is looking at the sun good or bad? Any of you fellas know if this one, please? It's bad to look at the sun. Don't look at the sun too long.
Don't-
I thought it was
yeah,
pretty
don't
common
look at the
knowledge, but yeah, no, don't look at the sun. But anywho,
It's good
but
for the
yeah,
body besides the eyes. Yeah, it's
yeah,
good for the skin and stuff.
to a degree.
Getting those vitamins.
That's right. But yeah, like I was saying, like, where's like a lot of this stuff, sort of cryptid stuff coming from? Like, is it becoming just a thing where people just want to make up stories there to try and get a bit of attention about themselves, or is it
I,
just a
th-
new thing?
I think it's some of that. No, a lot of these cryptids go back a long way. There's a couple other channels that sort of cross over. There's World Bigfoot Radio. There's a guy in North America. He runs a channel called uh, um, Strickland is his name, and he deals with a lot of cryptids, and it definitely goes back a fair way. Obviously, some of them would be new, and I'm sure some are made up. But when you listen to these people, especially the ones who really dig into the cryptids or Bigfoot or whatever it is, they've been doing it for a long time, and these reports are consistent. You know, and yeah, there's only some of these things are only fleeting sightings, but from my observations, I believe what these people are seeing is something not 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 of this earth, but something that is unusual compared to what we're normally used to. Like, you know, when we're out in a forest, say, we might see a fox or a hare or other animals that we're used to, and when something else totally different comes along, that's what throws everything into disarray. And people have talked about when they've come face to face with these creatures, they get a really unsettling feeling, or they may get a telepathic, you know, voice in their head, that sort of thing. Especially, there's stories from hunters who have, you know, picked up a rifle to shoot a cryptid, and they've got this message, telepathic message, to say that's not a very good idea, you know. So, and this is not just, like I say, it's not just one or two stories. It's fairly consistent.
Yeah, that's the thing too. As long as it's consistent, and you know, people are sharing the similar details, then it becomes more credible. It's like, it's when someone says like they've seen something that's like, it kind of resembles this creature or something like that, but it's totally different. You know, like it has different features than that. It's when it sort of starts to become a bit of a bullshit, because like, you know, like, it could be a different variation of whatever this thing is, but you know, the more consistency there is to a story there, the more credibility is going to bring to, you know, whatever is happening. You know, what people are seeing, and you sort of think like, if there is several different creatures of these cryptids or whatever they are, like why aren't a lot more people seeing them these days, or why is nothing being captured in that sort of regard?
Mm.
If, like,
Yeah,
people
there
got
is
like
always that. Like, why isn't there physical evidence? But I mean, would the government step in and get rid of, like the Men in Black sort of situation, how they used to go around and tell people to be quiet and don't talk about seeing a UFO or whatever experience they may have. So
when it comes to Bigfoot, there's definitely evidence. People have found hair. They've found the footprints. They even found the droppings or scat from Bigfoot. They've taken samples. They've left their hair behind in trees and things like that. There's even reports that tree branches that are being ripped off trees way up high, like sort of 7 or 8 feet, 10 foot in the air, that these branches are being ripped off trees. And where Bigfoot, people have witnessed Bigfoot. And in most cases, because it's so strange, and it's happened to all of us, we all think that because we all carry a phone with a pretty decent camera in it these days, that we'll be able to get something. But by the time something like this happens, number one, you're so transfixed on what's happening, you can't believe what's going on. Number two, by the time you think about getting your phone out, like most of us carry in our pockets these days, it's already gone or too late. And number three, you've got to unlock your phone, you've got to open your camera app, and that's, believe it or not, as quick as we can do that, that's actually a long time in some of these situations. So there's good reason why we don't. I'm not saying it's not out there. I'm just saying there is some good reasons why people aren't able to get that perfect shot, so to speak, or at least some sort of evidence.
because sometimes I've seen UFOs or whatever grab it looks a little bit strange. I've watched it for a while. It's not acting like, a helicopter or whatever. Get the phone and zoom in a bit to try to take a decent picture. It just looks like a glowing blob. So it's like, what's the point of even taking that and then going on to, like, speaking to other people and trying to put forth that evidence, because it's just going to look ridiculous. People are just going to just glowing light, and it's just it's not clear, and so even with these newer phones, these smartphones and good cameras, they still don't take that good of pictures.
Yeah.
No,
So I've
especially
tried to take
nighttime.
pictures of them.
Yeah.
I've tried to take pictures of the moon, and even that looks average on a more modern like phone. Like you can, depending, I guess, how low it is and stuff. But yeah, like a lot of stuff just doesn't look very good on it unless it's kind of close. I guess they're more made for us taking silly selfies than
That's
Yep.
exactly right.
for taking like pictures of UFOs.
No, that's right. And like the biggest thing is too, like when you're looking at photos, like you're saying, it looks a big blob. Your camera's doing the autofocus there, which is focusing right out, which enlarges it and makes it look like a big blob even more. And like people will see, like you're saying, like I see something interesting in the sky there, you don't understand it, and people will immediately assume that's a UFO. Try and it's like you're saying, you try and take a photo of it or a video, and there's nothing there that's going to justify or give any credibility to what you're trying to capture there. And people post up there with no information, no detail, and just say, "Oh, I was saying captured this," and then it's like, "Well, what about it? Like, what are you trying to show here?" People don't show any like detailed information. Going, "Oh, I saw it fly from here to here and there, or do some sort of weird phenomenal thing there," or it just sat there for hours and hours and hours, and it did nothing. So it's like none of that detail exists when people show this up. And all this seems to be is like, are people being idiotic and just think that what they're sharing is evidence? I'm not sure. Or they're just trying to do it for a clickbait sort of thing. That for me, to me, like I hate it, and it pisses in my pocket because it brings no credibility to the whole UFO community when people sort of share this crap, because like it just shows absolutely nothing, gives no credibility. There's no thought even behind this sort of crap that they're sharing, because they just go, "Oh yeah, the UFO community will believe that I've seen something, what I've seen," Which is like, look, I'm all for trying to give you credibility for your encounters there, but you need to have the detail behind it to go and back up your whatever you're trying to capture.
That's why I wouldn't bother unless it was like, a really good footage or picture that I could actually be proud to show someone and say, look, this is what I saw. But as I've said, anytime I've seen stuff and taken pictures, like different videos with phones, it just looks like complete trash.
Yeah, and
And
that's
I
what I
don't
was
want to be
saying.
one of those people that just add in, a bunch of bullshit into the pool.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what I was saying at the start of the show there too. Like, I'm all for critical analysis here, like, and it's up to you as well to like try and analyze it yourself and try and rule out all possibilities, whether it's a star or a drone or a plane or something that's something that could be explainable. And if you do that first and you can rule all those sort of things out, then you're going to give yourself more credibility to what you've encountered. So that's something that sort of needs to be encouraged a lot more to this UFO community, to give more credibility to people's encounters.
I feel like anyone that takes it seriously would, like you said, rule out all the natural, like what it could be. Because I've gone over the years, I go on so many pages if it comes to orbs or UFOs and someone will just have the most like crappy, and they'll just swear blind. They won't listen to other people's opinions. Like,
Yeah,
oh, it might be this, it might be this, it might be this. And if they're not ready to listen, but also like you said, oh, is it this, or this, or this? And then maybe you're still looking at it, and it's still acting differently than all the stuff you'd sort of on the list that you're ticking off. Then, like, I just feel like anyone that's interested in this will look at, like, even with ghosts, like people just hear a noise and, oh, that's a ghost. It's like you got to look at all the possibilities before you just go, okay, maybe this is paranormal. Like, just really, really, really look into it before you just jump and get excited and share it to the community.
yeah, that's it.
Mm.
Like a good one for that is like the house is like at nighttime there when they cool down, they bang and clatter, and like that's a good one there. And people think, oh, there's a ghost or something banging on walls. Sorry, Mark, I cut you off,
Especially in
mate.
Australia where it's
sure.
hot, it gets hot and then it cools down like quite rapidly. So
I was just going to say with my encounter, and I've heard other UFO researchers talk about this. I've talked to G about it. I've talked to other people about it. I've talked to you, but I haven't actually gone and done anything officially. And that was proven. If you ever watch any of Stanton Friedman's lectures, he's passed away now. And when he talked about when he would do a lecture about UFOs, he'd get everyone in the room and, okay, have you seen, a UFO? And everyone had raised their hand, or a lot of people raised. And he says, okay, how many of you had reported it to, say, MUFON or some other organisation like that? And I think most people would drop their hand, and out of maybe 5 or 10 out of the whole room, and there's probably 100 in the room, have actually reported it to, say, a place like MUFON or NICAP or the UFO Reporting Centre or something like that. That most of us don't. Or this day and age, we put it on our social media platform. So do we believe it? Well, we just
little Jimmy, I saw a UFO on Facebook.
Yeah, we just, as we've said before, as good as our phones are, a nighttime photo, or even just go and take a daytime photo. Go to your local airport and try and take a photo of a plane taking off. Yeah. What it looks like to your eyes and what it turns out on your phone is two totally different things altogether.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's a perfect example I was going to use then to like go and take a photo during the day. Go and take a photo of a plane, even if it is taking off, or even if it's just going over the top of the sky, like at 40,000 feet or whatever. And I find that a lot of people, when they say like they've seen a Tic Tac UFO sort of flying across the sky there, especially when they're driving, they always seem to be driving, so they can't go and pay attention to what's in the sky. That says a little Tic Tac there, and it's probably 9 times out of 10, it's probably a bloody plane in the distance there. That looks, because like we can't focus on its wings or the angle, perspectives, and like a lot of the damn things that people are seeing are explainable. And I sort of feel like, the UFO community. I'm probably going to get a bit of hate from this, but I find the UFO community is really not doing justice to itself here. Like assuming that everything is a UFO at this point in time. You know, there's so much out there explainable, and people are getting like, especially contrails. People are seeing contrails and go, "Oh, is this a plane or a UFO?" It's like I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure we've been seeing jet planes for the last 60s, I think it is. What's that?
yeah,
Like 50
yep,
years we've been watching jet planes fly
yep.
with bloody
Yeah.
contrails. I'm
Mm.
sure everyone's aware of what a contrail is. And yes, okay, they are a bit of a chemtrail in a certain degree, but not every plane is a chemtrail. They are contrails. Anyway, but yeah. Oh, look, I could go on there. I could probably cause some more hate towards myself with my own opinions. But anyway, um,
Well, we're gonna have different opinions. You can't all just like nod and say, yeah, 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 like, and just agree. Like that's what makes stuff like this conversation we're having now interesting. That we'll all have a slight different opinion on every topic. So you got to have your say. And if people can't, handle you having maybe a slightly different opinion, then that's their problem, really.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, look, because I'm all about the truth. That's all I want. I want the truth, and I want people to
Yeah,
understand that
yeah.
the truth. Um, but by acknowledging the truth, you have to understand that, acknowledge the reality of not everything is a UFO either. So that's that's so.
Exactly.
So look, before we finish up, guys, like any final opinions you want to share with us there, or Mark, we'll start with you, mate. If you want to go on, got any opinions you want to go and
Well,
share before we finish up?
yeah. Just look, I believe that we're not alone. We are being visited, and until somebody brings me some more information or evidence contrary to that, I'm going to stick with that and just say, yep.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's all good. Jay, what about yourself, mate?
I just want to quickly say, it's been great to jump on here and chat to you. And yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on. I did share this podcast before I jumped on, and just yeah, also I shared a couple of my encounters. I've had other ones as well. Maybe one day I might discuss them with you or whatever. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of crazy, strange stuff happening. But also, like you pointed out, don't just you see like a firefly or a light reflecting of a moth or a plane and say, oh, that's paranormal, because you kind of are discrediting all the people that do have some really good evidence. You're kind of going against. You feel like you're adding to like you're trying to help the community, but really you're kind of doing the opposite when you're adding just a bunch of bullshit really to like some really good evidence. So just before you just jump in and start having your opinion, ha- make sure you sort of take your time and look into it properly, because there's a lot of just it could be a plane instead of a tic tac or whatever. But yeah, thanks for having us on though.
No, it's wonderful,
Definitely.
mate.
Thank you very much.
No, I appreciate it. Geez, share your channel, mate. If people want to go and check out your food channel and your little mini paint channel there, mate.
Right, no worries. Cheers.
What is it? Is it
I just,
Warhammer sort of stuff that you're painting up, or is it?
it is. I do have some stuff like laying around here like
That's
this.
the go.
Yeah, or paint a lot of orcs.
Nice.
Yeah, it's basically Warhammer stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do a bit of the old miniature paintings there as a teenager there, but sort of got out of it a little bit there, and I actually quite enjoyed it there. I had some sort of weird board game thing, and it was like knights and like it was like an old medieval sort of army there, but I actually painted them all up, and because it was all really basic sort of stuff. Like I think it was orcs and humans or something like that. But it wasn't Warcraft, not that, But they were it was something weird and different. I don't know what the hell it was, but yeah, I actually ended up painting them, and they came really cool. I was like, I'm gonna keep doing this, and then I ended up getting a Warhammer one there myself and painting them. It was actually good fun.
Yeah, I used to be into it as a kid, but got back into it, as an adult the last few years.
Yep.
So yeah, it's definitely helps. It's good for relaxation, a bit of mindfulness and stuff like that, just to focus on that. Take your, not sort of focus on all the doom and gloom in the world for a bit. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what were you saying then, Mark?
Oh, I was just going to say I'm a bit the opposite to G. I don't do miniatures, or I used to do miniature model trains and things like that. But I've taken a step back in history, and I'm actually restoring a steamroller. That's
Oh, nice.
That's an actual steam traction engine. but yeah, that particular one on screen now it also can be a steamroller, and it was built in 1926. So I've gone further back in time, and something completely different to UFOs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's right back.
Yeah.
That's cool as. So what do you Funkin' Hungry is the channel for you there, G, is it? With PH.
Yeah, that's
Funkin'
the one.
with
Yeah,
PH.
with PH.
Bit of play on words there.
Yeah, absolutely.
How often?
And then the miniature hobby I'll just share that is G the Hyper Sapien. If anyone does, I do mainly do painting and sometimes review tools and stuff.
Yep. That's a G the Hyper Sapien. Righto.
Yes.
Yeah, send us links there, mate. I'll throw them in the show notes there if people want to go and check you out too. When this gets posted up on the audios and that. I'll even throw up
No worries. Thank you.
mix it up. But yeah, that's awesome. So what are you saying, Mark?
I was just going to say, how often do you normally do this? Is there anything regular, or is it just whenever you can, sort of thing?
It used to be every fortnight there because I used to work around my work roster there. But now I've started a new job there. I'm trying to work around the roster there, and it's really thrown me out a lot. Trying to keep an organized sort of streaming regime.
Yep.
But I guess the best way to do it, guys, is just make sure you're on the Facebook page there, and you'll be getting notified a couple of days prior to when I'm going to stream, or at least the day before or something like. Just the best bet. Just make sure you subscribe to the Facebook page there and hit the little notifications thing there, so you do get notified when there is a post up from the page. So that's probably about the best thing I can offer in that regard, because I just don't know until I can organize something a bit better there. I am in the works there for trying and working something on a bit of a weekly basis there, but it just won't be on the same day basis. Like I used to try it every Monday fortnight, but that's thrown out of the works now.
Yeah, that's fine. I followed you on Facebook and stuff before I joined as well. So yeah,
no, that's awesome. Appreciate it. No, it's wonderful.
No,
guys, I'll finish it there, guys. And again, thanks for joining me, mate, and sharing your stories. That is absolutely fantastic, and it brings more light to the whole topic of what the reality is out there. So thanks again, guys, for sharing with us.
Thank you.
No worries. Take care, man.
All the best. Talk to you soon. Yeah.
Catch you.
And that will do it, folks, for this episode. I hope you enjoyed the show. And don't forget, if you or someone you know has had an encounter, please get in touch with me to be featured on the podcast. If you're a fan of the show, you can support the podcast by purchasing some awesome merchandise that's available on our online store via the link provided in the episode description. So thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Encounter Down Under. Hooroo!